What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing another triple elemental Fang team, this time in the Fantasy Cup featuring Shadow Salamence with Fire Fang, Shadow Steelix with Thunder Fang, and Octobax with Ice Fang. Now in previous iterations of the Fantasy Cup, Salamence has been nothing more than a complete meme pick, but this season with the buff to Fire Fang, it is a genuine threat to the meta, and it can absolutely run through teams that aren't prepared for it. So with that being said, let's just get straight into the question of the day. Are there any other move clones like the Elemental Fangs and the Elemental Punches that you would like to see get buffed in a future season? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, leading Shadow Salamence into Azumarill. Now, this does not look like a good matchup for us. However, we can actually win this in the 2-shield scenario if the opponent is not running Ice Beam. And even if they are, if they throw at poor timing at any point throughout the battle, then we can win this. However, since I've seen they're running Ice Beam, what I'm going to do is fire off the first fly, and then I will try and swap and catch the next Ice Beam onto my Steelix, because it's very unlikely that they're running Ice Beam and Hydro Pump. So Steelix should be very safe here. We're going to catch the Ice Beam. However, we are unfortunately punished by a Galarian Stunfisk, and we're not running Earthquake or even Crunch to hit for neutral damage here. So we go for a Psychic Fangs. Maybe you could argue that I shouldn't have thrown a Charge Move at all, force them to throw their energy straight away. However, the opponent throws their energy after not really over farming by much, and that will allow me to come in with the Salamence. We've debuffed their defense, so I can shield once and then go for a huge Fire Fang farm down, and I'm going to come out with so much loaded energy. Shadow Salamance's energy is very useful up against pretty much most things. However, unfortunately, a loaded Sand Slash is not one of those things. So we go for the fly, we grab the shield anyways. Salamence could be running something like a Hydro Pump or a Fire Blast, so I do understand why they shield there. They go for a Drill Run, and then they swap back into Azumarill. Now, of course, we've only got resisted damage here. However, Ice Fang is going to be a plus compared to Dragon Breath, as of course it is going to be single resisted rather than double resisted. Now, we debuff their attack. Ice Beam actually doesn't get the KO, and we get damage registration error, something I always complain about not getting. We finally get it, and you're going to see that is going to be hugely impactful as we get the Fire Fang farm down. We come out with 1 HP and a Dream. We've only got resisted Draco Meteor, but it still one-shots the Alolan Sandslash. Shadow Salamence putting in work in this first battle, and I'm able to take that game. Into next battle, a much more positive lead matchup for us. The opponent safe swaps into Azumarill. We're going to respond with the Steelix here, and if they farm up to the Hydro Pump, I will respect it. If they don't, then I'm not going to bother shielding Steelix at all. And the opponent has farmed up to the potential Hydro Pump, so we are going to shield this, and the opponent full sends it. So now, they wasted all of their energy. We can go for a huge Thunder Fang farm down, coming out with tons of energy. Unfortunately, it's not going to be that useful into Ferrothorn, but what I might look to do is, after debuffing them a ton of times with these Psychic Fangs, is then snipe with my Shadow Salamence. So, going to go for Psychic Fangs. Number 2, the opponent probably not going to shield this either. They don't shield. We're able to make it to another Psychic Fangs before the opponent bothers throwing any energy. So we're going for the snipe, and 2 Fire Fangs catches them off guard, and they've got an extra chill in the back. Easy win for the Salamence, so the opponent just concedes the match. So GG's to opponent there. Into next battle, can see Dedenne in the lead. Now, this isn't actually that bad for us. Of course, Thunder Shocks have been buffed this season. I'm assuming they're on Parabolic Charge, so I swap after 6, and the opponent throws a Parabolic Charge, which of course doesn't do much damage there. They then come in with their own Fire Fang Salamence, which is very cool to see. We're going to go straight for a Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe does not get the debuff. If we got the debuff there, I'd actually make it to a second Breaking Swipe before they farm me down, but actually they get the perfect farm down there. So we're going to come in with the Octobax. I wasn't sure if I could shield once and then farm down with my own Salamence, so actually just going to come in with the Octobax. Just 2 Ice Fangs, gets the KO. We swap into our Salamence, and again they've got a Powder Snow, Alolan Sandslash, which definitely isn't ideal for us, but these Fire Fangs are also chunking up against the Sandslash. We're going to come in with the Octobax. I can actually live this. I know Play Rough from Dedenne is going to be the hardest hitting move in the game still. However, I didn't want to throw here just in case the opponent makes a catch, so instead I'm going to shoot up the Ice Punch, wait for them to swap out into their Dedenne. Going to go straight for the Icy Wind. Avalanche would be better in this closing position. However, we're still able to get that Ice Fang farm down, come out with the Dragon Claw loaded, and even from this range, Dragon Claw will be enough damage to take out the Alolan Sandslash, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's top there. Into next battle, Shadow Salamence into Azumarill once again. Now, these battles aren't quite in order, so it might be the case that I tried to catch the Ice Beam onto my Steelix straight away, but no, we're actually just going to stay in anyways. The opponent is going to fire off the Ice Beam here, so probably going to play this out similarly to the first battle where we go for the fly and then we swap after, well, 4 more bubbles here as they reach the Ice Beam, catching it onto Steelix. This is a little bit different as, of course, the opponent did let the fly go through. We're going to catch the Ice Beam and they come in with Alolan Sand Sand Slash again, but this time they're not on Powder Snow, so that is good to know here. We are going to no shield. Drill Run doesn't quite take us out there, but unfortunately they don't put us into 1 Shadow Claw farm down range. They're going to get 2 off, so unfortunately, even though we just debuffed their defense and we're running Fire Fang, 3 Fire Fangs just barely won't be enough damage to take out the Sand Slash here, so I'm forced to throw my energy. We go for the Fly. Fly is going to be no shielded, and unfortunately they've got Wigglytuff in the back. So of course, up against a Fairy type that's actually running Charm, this team is going to struggle. It's only Steelix that can really deal with it, but I didn't really see many. I think Wigglytuff was probably the only one I saw, and I think in this battle is the only Wigglytuff that I saw, so it wasn't too bad in the end. However, unfortunately, we do get completely destroyed in this battle, so GG's to that opponent there. Into next battle, Shadow alone and Sand Slash in the lead. We're going to stay in, and they're not on Powder Snow. The Fire Fang's doing huge damage. We swap at the same time there. I'm not actually sure why the opponent swapped out there. I guess if they threw a Charge Move, we'd just get an easy Fire Fang farm down. But either way, we swap into our Steelix, and this is great for me as the opponent going to fire for Charge Move. Again, I don't think they farmed up to the Hydro Pump, so I can just no shield that, go for another Psychic Fangs, and whilst this doesn't do much damage, it should put them into Thunder Fang farm down range just before they make it to the next Charge Move, which is very nice. The opponent also going to throw their energy straight away. So at this point, Steelix going to go down here. Now I'm thinking they're going to swap out immediately. So actually, instead of coming in with the Salamence, I'm going to come in with the Arctibax. They've got a Dragapult in the back. Easy hard counter win for us, unfortunately for the opponent, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, you can see Galarian Weezing in the lead. So going to say swap into my Shadow Steelix, and the opponent is going to stay in here. And because of the energy generation buff to Thunder Fang, we're actually able to make it to Psychic Fangs 1 turn before they're able to make it to a potential overheat. Now we've grabbed the shield. I'm going to let this go through. The opponent full sends the overheat here. I feel like it's like every time I tried to shield the overheat, it was a bait. Every time I let it go through, it was the overheat. So a bit unfortunate there, but it is a guessing game. We're now going to come in with the Arctibax. They've already debuffed their attack by 2 stages. Overheat still does respectable damage there, but we get the Ice Fang farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come in with a Azumarill. We're going to go straight for the Icy Wind, and then I will swap into my Salamence, and they actually end up shielding that. I don't really understand that play whatsoever. Honestly, I was thinking, well, we land an Icy Wind. I kind of need that damage anyways, as a Fly will not get the KO. However, now that they've used all their shields, we can go for a Fly, we can double shield, and then potentially just go for a huge Fire Fang farm down here, as again, these bubbles, they're not doing much damage whatsoever. So, of course, gonna shield this. They go for the Ice Beam. They then come in with a Excadrill, and of course, we can just go for a Fly here. Fly is resistant damage, but it doesn't matter. It gets the KO. They come back in with the Azumarill. We get the Fire Fang farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's top home there, into next battle, Azumarill in the lead once again. So once again, gonna stay in this lead matchup here, and we are going to let them throw straight away. Honestly, the only time where I did try and swap, they didn't throw immediately as well, so that's why I'm staying in these matchups here. They're then gonna swap into a Carbink and Steelix. Even though we're not running Earthquake, is a great response here, as of course we are going to double resist the rock damage and single resist the fairy damage here, so I don't have to shield anything. Psychic Fang's not gonna do much damage here, but it will allow us to fully farm them down. However, because we're not doing any super effective damage, this is going to be a very long matchup, so it will allow the opponent, if they want to potentially swap out of this matchup, banking a ton of energy, which is definitely not ideal for us, but I can't really swap out of this matchup now that I'm down a shield, so we're going to stay in with the Steelix, hoping to grab a shield at some point here, and Steelix is going to get that shield, so now we come in with the Salamence. We're going straight for the Fly. Fly is going to go unshielded by the opponent, then come back in with the Carbink, and I'm thinking, well, they're not going to be running triple Fairy, so I'm going to let this go through here, come in with the Steelix, and they're running a Fire Fang Marwile. And that was very, very poor on my end. I should have waited out the switch clock in the full there, because maybe I could have made that swap out of my Steelix, preserving it for the Carbink in the back. And as well, we gave them such a big energy advantage on the Marwile that I'm not going to reach back-to-back Icy Winds, or at least when I get there, the opponent will be able to go for another Power-Up Punch and win CMP. So definitely not ideal for us. We're just barely not going to make it to the Icy Wind. Power-Up Punch, of course, will be taking out the Arctibax from this range, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. So GG's top home there, into next battle, Shadow Salamence into a Giratina. Now, not great for us, but the opponent's actually going to swap out there, probably expecting us to be running Dragon Tail as the fast move, in which case that would not be a great matchup for the Giratina. However, they swap into Skarmory. At the same time we come in with the Steelix, they go for a Brave Bird, which actually, if anything, helps us, because now we get a huge Thunder Fang farm down. They're going to come in with Azumarill, which makes sense because they can sponge the energy a lot better than up against the Giratina. And even though Giratina, well, they thought it was going to be useless up against our Salamence, they might still not know that we're not running the Dragon Tail fast move, but either way we can go for another Psychic Fangs. Nice catch by the opponent, but it doesn't matter. We can come in with the Arctibax, go for a full Ice Fang farm down, and I'm actually going to shield this just because we can then permanently debuff the Azumarill with the Icy Wind there, so we might as well shield. And the opponent recognizing there's nothing they can do anymore, even though we had 2 Dragon types left, Azumarill was just going to be useless up against a permanently debuffing team there, so they concede the match. But GG to opponent there, into next battle, another Galarian Weezing in the lead, so again, going to swap into our Steelix, go straight for a Psychic Fangs here. Psychic Fangs is going to be no shielded this time around, so that kind of makes me think, okay, I should probably shield this, and it is the overheat, so actually that was the right decision. However, they come in with an Excadrill, which completely walls us. This time we do overfarm quite considerably, farming up to a potential Earthquake, and we grab a shield with the Psychic Fangs, which is very nice. We're able to make it to another Psychic Fangs, and Psychic Fangs actually going to be double shielded there, which is very interesting. We're now going to come in with the Salamence, we're going to shield this up, and the opponent baits with a Drill Run, which makes very little sense unless they're not running Rock Slide at all, and they're running like Iron Head, in which case they wouldn't get there, and so in that sense, that actually does make sense there. But either way, we're going to go for a Fly. Fly should be dealing huge damage up against the Azumarill. I'm basically just going to wait and force them to throw their energy. So the opponent, I'm going to go for the Ice Beam. Ice Beam gets the KO. We can come in with the Arctibax. And I'm hoping they're not going to be running Play Rough here. But let's see, the opponent going to fire off the Charge Move. The opponent goes for Play Rough. That does huge damage. But I'm committing to a full Ice Fang farm down. And we get the farm down. But not only that, we come out with back-to-back Icy Winds loaded. So they come back in with Galarian Weezing. Icy Wind number 1 gets the KO, and Dragon Claw would have sufficed, but we go for Icy Wind number 2 up against the Excadrill, taking out the Excadrill, and I'm able to take that game. So GG to opponent there, into next battle, another Giratina in the lead. So once again, going to say swap into our Steelix straight away, and the opponent is going to stay in with the Giratina and then swap into their Skarmory anyways. That really does not make any sense to me at all. But either way, we're going to go for the Psychic Fangs there, debuff their defense, and now we can just commit to a full Thunder Fang farm down. And once again, if they go for Brave Bird here, honestly, that doesn't really make a difference here, as we're still going to get a big farm down, maybe slightly less farm, so okay, that makes sense. But either way, still coming up with back-to-back Breaking Swipes. However, I didn't throw straight away as expecting maybe a Azumarill to come in or something like that. And unfortunately that backfires as the opponent also goes for an extra Shadow Claw and then forces the CMP tie. So not best played on my end, but either way we can go for back-to-back Breaking Swipes. Breaking Swipe number 2, I'm going to grab the final shield. We then swap into Arctibax, and again it is Azumarill. So we're going to go for the Icy Wind here just before they make it to the Charge Move. This should allow us to live even a Play Rough fairly comfortably, not super comfortably, but not to the point where they'll be able to bubble farm us down. But the opponent goes for an Ice Beam bait, which is fine with me. That is of course a neutral damage, as we are an Ice and Dragon type Pokemon. We can go for another Icy Wind here. Icy Wind again, not going to do much damage, but we've got them deep into the yellow health range, very close to the red health range. I'm now going to swap into my Shadow Salamence, and the opponent swaps at the exact same time. So honestly, maybe I should have just stayed in with the Arctibax, but either way, we're going to shield up the Ominous Wind. In the moment, I was like, okay, I can only go by 3 more Fire Fangs and throw the Charge Move, but then I got greedy. We went for 1 extra. They were at the Charge Move, and that's going to be game over, unfortunately. We do come out with the Icy Wind loaded. It will debuff their attack, and Steelix will be able to get off a few more Thunder Fangs, but unfortunately not quite enough to get the farm down up against the Azu, and despite having actually really good matchups all around in that game, we end up losing. So GG's to the opponent there, into next battle. You can see a Ferrothorn in the lead. The opponent staying in there, then realizing we're on Fire Fang, so they swap into a Azumarill, and things are looking very good for us. And again, they don't farm up to the Hydro Pump, so I can just safely no shield the Ice Beam, go for a Psychic Fangs, and because even though we are slightly slow to swap out there, because the Thunder Fang generation energy is going to be a lot better, we can make it to another Psychic Fangs and then go for a full farm down. So the opponent no shields, we get the Thunder Fang farm down, and let's see, the opponent's going to come in with Empoleon, and this is fine with me. We can just come in with the Salamence. They are on, of course, Waterfall, so I'm resisting it. Fire Fangs are going to be neutral damage as they are a Water and Steel type Pokemon. I can commit to a full Fire Fang farm down, taking out Empoleon, and it doesn't matter that we are very low. We can just safely shield up the Mirror Shot here. Even if they debuff my attack, it is not going to make a difference. Fire Fang still easily taking out the Ferrothorn, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's top over there, into next battle, Shadow Salamence into Flygon. Now honestly, compared to previous seasons, I have not seen many Flygon this season at all. And yeah, I don't really know why that is. I think there are actually quite a lot of like ground and steel type Pokemon that are fairly good, and in which case Flygon is going to absolutely destroy them. But either way, we can go for a fly there. I can't really afford to use both shields here, so at this point, just gonna let the Shadow Salamence go down. Also, I can't afford to swap out because I've got Steelix, which gets completely walled by the Flygon, at least by the Thunder Fang damage there. So we're going to come in with the Arctibax, get the Ice Fang farm down. They come in with a Turtonator, so possibly running like a triple Dragon team. I'm going to swap, hoping that I've just caught a Dragon Pulse, and it is the Dragon Pulse, which is huge for me. I'm going to go for a full Thunder Fang farm down, and unfortunately, they just barely hang on there. That is not damage registration error. They just barely hang on with that extra Thunder Fang, and unfortunately, that might be costly for me. But the opponent does come in with their third Dragon. It's going to be an Arctibax. I'm able to make it to back-to-back Breaking Swipes. Breaking Swipe number 2 is going to be no-shielded by the opponent. Very smart play there, realizing that, of course, we've got a Dragon Claw loaded on our own Arctibax, and the Dragon Claw takes us out. We get a simultaneous KO, and the match ends in a tie. So GG's top on there into the next battle. Registeel in the lead. They're going to swap out into Flygon. We can come in with the Arctibax. And honestly, if they're running like Stone Edge, that might one-shot us, but otherwise, I should be able to live any other charge move. They go for Scorching Sands, they debuff my attack, doesn't really make a difference here. Registeel can be a very uncomfortable lock-on farm down for the opponent, so they might just throw their energy once they get to 100 energy here. Or they might just throw straight away, can't really tell, but either way, Registeel goes for a Focus Blast, getting the KO there. We can come back in with the Salamence, they swap into Azumarill, we're going straight for the fly. And then, of course, I'm going to be swapping into my Steelix. We land the fly, that does about 50% of their HP, and at this point, this is going to be game over. We can go straight for Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs, not going to do much damage, but it doesn't really matter. I can just no-shield if they throw. They actually don't even bother. They're just going to concede the match. They realize there's nothing they can do, so we're able to take that game. So GG's top there into the next battle. Going to see an extra drill in the lead. The opponent's going to say swap into Whimsicott, and this is still a fine matchup for me. I'm going to no-shield this as the opponent just goes for a Seed Bomb, which is double resisted. We can now full send the fly. Fly should be either getting the KO or grabbing the shield. Now I'm going to swap into the Arctibax, and the opponent's still not able to make it to a Moonblast, which is huge for me. They're now going to come back in with the extra drill. We're going to go straight for the Icy Wind. Icy Wind will be grabbing a shield from the opponent, and the final shield as well. But at this point, I think I can just go for a full Ice Fang farm down. So they go for the Rock Slide there. We are going to commit to the farm down, and we get that farm down, and they've got Azumarill in the back. So once again, things are looking great for us. We go straight for Icy Wind. We're now going to swap into our Shadow Steelix, and this is game over. There's nothing they can do here. Again, they don't even farm up to the Hydro Pump, so safely gonna no-shield this on my Steelix. They go for the Ice Beam, and they are debuffed, so that does even less damage than usual. We can go for the Psychic Fangs here, and at this point, I don't have to throw another charge move. We can commit to a full Thunder Fang farm down. The opponent's still fighting for their life here, but unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough damage. We can go for that Thunder Fang farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's up home there into next battle. We're going to see a Turtonator in the lead, so not really ideal for us as we are running Fire Fang. Fire Fang is going to be double resisted by the Turtonator, but I'm able to swap and hopefully once again catch a resisted Dragon Pulse onto my Steelix, and it is going to be a Dragon Pulse. They also swap into Azumarill, which is absolutely fine with me. You're going to go straight for the Psychic Fangs here. Psychic Fangs is going to be no-shielded, of course, by the opponent, and again, just an Ice Beam. I can no-shield this. We are fairly low, so they will be able to bubble farm me down, which is not ideal, but it's not the worst thing ever, because now we can come in with either Pokemon and get a farm down. I choose to come in with the Arctibax just because Salamence does have at least very close to a charge move already loaded. They go for an Ice Beam there. We can come out with a Dragon Claw loaded. So if they come back in with the Turtonator, which they do, we can go for 2 Ice Fangs, fire off the Dragon Claw, grab a shield from the opponent, and I'll still outpace them to the next Dragon Claw, which is absolutely fine with me. So Dragon Claw number 2 is going to be shielded by the Turtonator. And then at this point I realise my Salamence is going to be able to nuke pretty much anything in the back. Aside from a freaking Bastiodon. What the heck is this thing doing here? It's not even fully powered up, but it will completely wall us, unfortunately. We're going to swap. I'm trying to land a Draco Meteor. It's still going to be resisted damage anyways, but we don't get there. Stone Edge gets the KO. And unfortunately, we get Smackdown farmed down by the Bastiodon, and we end up losing that game. But GG's top over there. Into next battle, going to see Azumarill in the lead. So once again, fairly okay matchup for us. I'm going to shield the first charge move and then swap and try and catch the next move onto my Steelix. Going to shield this up as they go for an Ice Beam straight away once again. We're going to go for 4 Fire Fangs and then fire off the fly. And then go for 3 more Fire Fangs and then swap into the Steelix. And again, we're able to catch the move as the opponent just going for that Ice Beam immediately. So catching it onto Steelix, they're going to stay in initially, then swap into Turtonator. And because they took a while to swap out there, I'm able to go for a Breaking Swipe, and if they commit to a full Incinerate farm down, I will reach another Breaking Swipe before they get there, which is very nice. And Salamence has a charge move loaded, so they've got 100 energy, it doesn't matter, we can go straight for the Fly. Fly will of course be enough damage to take out the Turtonator. They're going to come back in with the Azumarill. Honestly, I couldn't remember how much they over-farmed by before swapping out. I believe it was just 1 bubble, but either way, I'm going to shield this, and then I'm a little bit unsure as to how much energy they've got, so we're going to swap here. I tried to catch the Ice Beam, but it doesn't really matter. The opponent swaps out into Shiinotic. This is a fine matchup for us. We can go straight for the Icy Wind. Icy Wind gets the KO, and this fight I'm hoping to land a resisted Draco Meteor. However, the opponent is not going to go and full send a Play Rough, instead just going for Ice Beam. So unfortunately, we're actually not able to get there. We get the full Ice Fang farm down, and I'm able to take that game. But GG's to up over there. Into next battle, we're going to see Excadrill in the lead. They're going to say swap into Empoleon, so I'm kind of forced to stay in here because, I mean, I could swap into Steelix, but what I don't really want to do is get the farm down, but then, of course, just allow that Excadrill to get a huge farm down up against our Steelix and then come out with like back-to-back Rock Slides loaded. So instead, we're staying in with the Salamence. We do get very low, which is definitely not ideal for us. We're now going to go and full send the Fly straight away. Fly is going to be no shielded by the opponent, and then they're able to fully farm me down. So at this point, we're going to come in with the Steelix. I'm just going to save my shields for the Arctobax, and at this point, I make a huge mistake here. Honestly, I thought I had the energy for a Psychic Fangs, and I didn't, so we're not able to get off the charge move. If I just swapped out straight away, I think I'd be able to go and commit to a full Ice Fang farm down. However, unfortunately, because I didn't, the opponent will reach back-to-back charge moves. We also reach back-to-back Dragon Claws, but I didn't bother throwing because I thought I was getting that farm down. We don't get the farm down. Rockside gets the KO, and a whole bunch of errors there leads to the opponent winning a game, which we should have been able to win very comfortably. But GG's to the opponent there. Into the final battle of this video, opponent leading with a loading dog trio, staying in this matchup for some reason. This is going to be a Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb does actually get us into the yellow health range, but they're going to come in with Galarian Weezing, so we're going to go and send the Fly, then swap into my Shadow Steelix, and the opponent is going to swap into Azumarill again for some reason. Don't really understand why, but either way, we're not going to argue with it. We're going to go straight for Psychic Fangs, and this game should be wrapped up already, and I think the opponent is going to fire off, again, not building up to the Hydro Pump, so easy no shield, it's just a play rough, so they probably are running Hydro Pump, they just didn't farm to it, and as a result, we get the farm down. We're going to come out with nearly 100 energy loaded, going to go for the Psychic Fangs straight away. They're going to no shield the first move, which makes sense, as of course, it's going to do less damage than the next two, but either way, we can just safely double shield here. They are running Sludge, so Sludge probably wouldn't take us out from this range, even though we are very low, but it doesn't matter. We're going to play it safe. We've CMP tied them here, so might as well just shield this up. Gonna go straight for Psychic Fangs, number 3, and of course, after 2 debuffs to their defense, Psychic Fangs will get the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.